Once we are done with the rebuild, one of our first destinations will be Spitsbergen, above the Arctic Circle. So it speaks for itself that we will be dealing with low temperatures. The windows in the wheelhouse, although very thick, are a massive cause of heat loss. So, despite all the insulation, keeping the wheelhouse nice and warm is gonna be a challenge. My name is Gijs and this is my dad. And this is Schoener Tijgerhaai. We have recently started a major rebuild to get ready for new adventures. And we're sharing the process with you. Subscribe to stay tuned. To counter heat loss and save costs, it's pretty common in houses to use double pane windows. On boats, however, you don't see them very often, although they do exist. We could have all our windows replaced with double or even triple pane boat windows, at high costs and lots of work. An easy solution that is sometimes used on older houses is a sheet of acrylic or plexiglass on the inner side in front of the window. This helps, although the insulation is not nearly as good as a real double pane windows. It has some other advantages. It's great for DIY because it's easy to cut with a jigsaw in the right shape and it doesn't shatter. We did decide to order the windows pre-cut in the right dimensions for a nicer result and to save some time. However, after taking dimensions, I decided to go on the internet and check what the difference in price would be between a single pane of plexiglass and double pane real glass. And guess what? It turns out double pane glass is cheaper, cut into the right dimensions and all. And with some optional extras like argon filling and thermoplastic spacer in between the panes, the prices are similar. We didn't have to think about that for very long. After picking up 17 custom-made double pane windows, we did have to make them fit in the wooden inner window frames. These frames were already installed, so we took them all out again and cut out the shape of the glasses. Of course, they do need new paint. These window frames are made out of softwood because they're on the inside and won't be exposed to the elements. However, softwood absorbs water like a sponge, and with some paint we can create a moisture-resistant barrier. You will not be able to see these parts, but if there's ever any condensation inside or in between the windows, we're good. The three windows on both sides of the wheelhouse have rounded corners, but the window frames and the additional windows are square. I think that looks weird, so I'm gonna make some corner pieces with the shape of the outer window, from an old teak scrap wood plank. If you are wondering why our windows don't all have the same shape, it's because the side windows come from a different ship. And so do the front windows. And the back windows. And practically everything else. We are like the Frankensteins of shipbuilding, and this is our monster. Anyway, now that the window frames are in their final form, I can make and install the paneling for in between the windows. Now the windows can be installed. I'm using a small temporary tab in the corner to keep the windows in place for now. Just to recap, we have the original heavy-duty windows in aluminium frames on the outside, and inside we have double paned additional windows. These inner windows are not hardened, that would make them 5 times more expensive. But the panes are 5 and 6 mm thick, which is quite a lot for small windows. Effectively, we have triple paned windows, which should help a lot to keep the wheelhouse warm. Have we overdone it? Maybe. I don't know. An additional advantage of these insulated windows is that we won't have condensation on the glass, so we will always be able to look outside. With the interior panels in place, it all looks terribly sloppy. Now it's time for the finishing touch. Hardwood slats on every panel gap. We have collected all the hardwood scraps from the workshop and sliced them up in slats of 8 by 30 mm. The result? A big pile of every kind of hardwood we can think of. We have teak, mahogany, azubi, meranti, walnut, oak, and probably some more that we don't recognize. For the longer pieces we have cut up another old fence post, of which we have a lot. The fence post slat, however, did not want to bend as much as I wanted it to. So, after breaking 3 long slats, I gave up and cut it in pieces. The ceiling can also finally be straightened out with slats. When all is finished and varnished, you will be able to tell that we have used all these different kinds of wood. But we have accepted that, so we're just gonna say that that's intentional. The wheelhouse was designed before we knew we were going to have additional windows. So there's a condensation gutter all around underneath the windows. We want to keep it reachable in case a window ever leaks or something. So we can't fill it up with insulation. It has to be insulated a bit though, so I'm sticking Armaflex on each piece of bare aluminum I see, except for the bottom. One layer of Armaflex does not do too much, so the back of the panel also gets a layer. To keep the removable panels in place, I will install a small cupboard latch like this on each one. But they haven't arrived yet. There are 5 windows in the wheelhouse that can be opened. In front of these we can't fit a double pane additional window. And we haven't really thought of a solution yet on how to insulate them, while keeping the option to easily open them. Maybe we will order some plexiglass and cut out the shape of the handles. But if you have a better idea, let us know in the comments. Because having nothing in front of them kind of nullifies the insulation that we put on the other windows. The front door still needs some insulation and paneling. For this, instead of using timbers and stone wool, we are just gonna use plywood for the entire area of the door. Effectively being one giant timber. Wood does have good insulation properties, so apart from the door becoming a bit heavier, there are little drawbacks to this solution. To attach it to the door, we're going to use high-tech adhesive, which should be strong enough. Hopefully. There are some more details that need to be finished, like some of the cabinet doors still need hinges and handles. For the rest, everything has to be taken out to be sanded and varnished. I realized that we are putting a lot of effort in insulating some places and very minimal on others, like the opening windows and the condensation gutter. But every little bit helps, I suppose, and some things you just have to compromise. Suggestions are welcome, of course. And this is all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.